Talk us through some of those early steps in developing a new export market. You need to pick the territory. You need to work out what you're selling them.
Yeah.
You need to do your homework and do your research.
Yeah. First one is appreciate you're not going to beat them on price alone, notwithstanding that if it's in a dollar-based economy at the moment, it's very attractive to beat on price alone because of the devalued sterling. But you're not going to pull that off because Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Africa are always going to sell into that market more cheaply than you. So what you have to do is sell in there on something that is special. Why would the consumer? The consumer might be John Doe in the street, but it might be another company, and your widget or your service is going to go into theirs and go on to somewhere else. Why would they buy yours? Why? So it has to be special. So it's either going to do it better, or it's going to do it on a reliable basis. So in other words, you can be trusted in your supply, or by having you, they are enhanced in what they do. I have in mind making sure that you always have a warehouse full at a port, so that when they call something down, it doesn't come from Britain, it comes from a port in America, say. So you've got to be able to sell on something that is different and for which they can identify. That's called value added. Commodity sells on price. Value added sells on something special.
And that's where our future prospects lie.
Totally right. Totally right.
There's no point in trying to be
Don't try and
cheapest.
sell on price. And by the way, the price benefit comes from the devalued sterling anyway, but that's not how you sell. You sell it on the basis of value added. That's the first thing. And if you're not doing that, don't even waste your time. Secondly, then think about where does it need to be. And I'd pick 4 or 5 economies and think, now, would what I do be good there? And do I understand it and feel it? So, possibly an English-speaking economy. Certainly an economy where they've got quality anti-corruption legislation and they've got a regulated business environment, rule of law. Your contract means what it says. Then thirdly, talk to your suppliers and to your customers who already export. Automotive's a good example. The Japanese taught us such a lesson. One of the reasons why Japanese cars are so reliable is because actually they bother with the supply chain. They bother with the people who sell them stuff. They talk about how do you do it, how do you train your people, come with me on the journey, come with me as partners. And they reap rewards on quality production. So talk to them. Talk to your advisors, talk to your bank, talk to your accountant, talk to your lawyer, talk to your local chamber of commerce or your CBI, because they'll have people who know about these markets. Absorb and learn, and then you can do all of that from home. Then one day, get on the plane.
You've got to go there.
You've got to go there. Because at the end of the day, this matters. Look them, in the whites of their eyes and have a chat.
Exporting isn't easy. It's hard work. You need to pay attention to the detail. Some people might think it's really not worth the effort.
You start ahead of the game in the fact that you're trusted, rule of law and a way of doing business, and you speak the global language, which is excellent. You're in the right time zone for so many things. And understand that you're starting probably behind the game a little bit because you've never done it before. And then do that in 1 or 2 markets and then come back and decide how are you going to do it, map it out, how many times are you going to go there, what are you going to do, what are you going to sell there? And always make a show of that you don't know their language. Don't try and pretend you know their language when you don't. But just show you've taken the trouble to say please and thank you and hello in their language. They'll love you for it.
So if you can say ni hao when you go to China, say ni hao.
Yes. And people always said to me, how did you build a law business and how did you get your clients? When I was talking to that client, when I was with that client, they were the most important person in my life. Nothing mattered as much as looking in the eye and saying, I'm here for you. I will look after you. By the way, you're going to pay me for it. But you matter to me.
Everybody keeps talking about, we've been talking about China for years and years and years, about how important it is as a growing market for the rest of the world.
I wouldn't go there first. There are many, there's not a lot more low-hanging fruit in the global economy before you get to China. That is not in any way saying that China's not important, it is. It's not saying that in 10 years' time, if you cut your teeth somewhere else, made a few mistakes somewhere else, then you, somewhere like Hong Kong, which has a rule of law and is used to the English way of life, use them as a springboard into China, get yourself a good Chinese partner, deal with your supply chain. You know, somewhere along your supply chain, either up it or down it, you're going to have someone who has dealt with China. Use them as partners. I mean, there's lots of ways of going into the Chinese market. There's lots of opportunities, but they do things differently. Notice I didn't say better or worse, but they do things differently. And it's a market, if you can understand it and you can get in there, you'll make some money, but I just wouldn't go there first.